Here is the home page for the end user's view of the web portal. The center right here you see is a home page, and you can close that home page, and if you close it by mistake, you can go to the Tools menu, the Tools drop-down menu, and open up the home page again. Okay. The home page has a number of folders that will be presented over the cross of the screen here as you dive into the different pages that are available on this website. On the left-hand side, there is always a configuration environment, and this shows you what you can see in terms of the configuration that you're working with on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is a properties dialog, or properties frame, I should say. And if you click on the order entry view in the configuration, you can see on the right-hand side are the properties about this particular configuration. And if you look in the lower right-hand corner of the properties page, this is telling you that these models that you'll be looking at are basically from a design layer architecture standpoint, where we have a conceptual design, a logical design model, and a physical structure targeted for the SQL Server 2008 environment, and another logical physical model structure that is targeted for Oracle. And this view is more than likely used to review all the different information about this particular structure, and we're calling this the order entry application. Okay? So let's collapse these two pages on the left and on the right. And let's start off with a search option. We'll click on here to start a new search, and you've got a new search window opened up here, a new folder for a search, and we'll type in the word order, either hit enter or click on the magnifying glass, and it does a web-based search for you. And you can see all the objects that are available here that have the word order as a string inside of one of these objects. If we click on one of these areas here, we click on the order entity in the logical order entry system, and you can see that this is a logical model, and we have the order definition and the definition of it. You can expand the properties dialog to see all the property details around that particular object. You can also go ahead and filter this model. Right now we have a fairly large result set of all the models in this particular configuration. We can expand this and see that we have all the models selected, and you can select individual attributes here, or individual objects I should say. Let's uncheck the relationship on the primary keys and only look for tables, and we see that there's 8 entries for tables. So we'll filter that search down to the table level, and now you can see all the definitions about the tables or the entities that have the word order in the object. And it's including the word order in all the definitions. The definition is the logical side, and the comment is the physical side. Okay? So that's how easy it is to do a search. You can close that object. And let's move over to looking at what we call data lineage. So we'll select the model to trace data lineage in the overall configuration we're looking at. And we can see the order entry models. And from there, we can right-click on this and see the lineage overview. And this will present a configuration of the model called order entry model. And we can further expand that by drilling into the order entry model, by opening it. And once we open it, you can see all the models that are involved in this configuration, where we have the conceptual order entry model, the logical order entry model, and the 2 physical models. Now, if you want to drill in further and see how an entity or a table is being extracted out of the conceptual and into the logical, and out of the logical into the physical, you can expand this, and you can see all the information and all the relationships of the models. You can see them in the textual format as well, by the way. And we'll open up the order entry model, and we can open it in a new tab and right here, and we can right-click on the order entity itself, and we want to trace that particular lineage in the entire configuration. And that will show you the details of all the information that is available here in the order entry system for the order table. You can expand this so you can see it a little bit and move it around. And now you can see the conceptual order entry object uses the customer identification that is migrated into the logical order entry model. And then from there, it's pushed over to the 2 physical models. So that is how you can quickly see the lineage involved with the information provided here. Let's close that frame, and we'll go back to the to the home page, and we can quickly look at diagrams in this particular model. So we can select the model to visualize, and we can open up the order entry models, and then from here we can open up the logical order entry object. And once you open that, you have a browser of all the information available for order entry. And we can click on the diagram visualizer to see the diagram of this particular information. We can collapse this window right here. And now you can see the diagram of this particular entry. You can choose to change the diagram visualization. Right now it's defaulting to IDF1X. We can change it to information engineering and see the crow's feet, okay, and use that kind of location, if you will. And you can also change it to UML if you want to look at it from a UML diagramming perspective. And once you have this diagram present here, there's a little tool entry here, a little tool icon that you can click on, and you can change the view, again, which view you want to look at. But you can also print this entire document right from the web page, or you can also get the link. If you click on Get Link, that will identify the URL, and you can choose to copy it and send it off to someone, and that way that person, once they log into the web portal, can get directly to this page without having to do any other kind of work or navigation. So this toolbar here is available in most of the presentation page frames that you're looking at here. So we'll close that folder, and we'll collapse this folder right here. And now we're going to log out of the application and log in as a different user. This will give you an example of a different kind of configuration that you may want to look at. And for this, we'll log on as end user 2. And in the end user 2 configuration, we have a different kind of view. This is called the publication view. And if we expand the properties here, you can see that the publication view is a configuration of models that represents an operational publication system and also a publication data mart. So we have the application model here, and we have the publication mart here. So let's collapse these, and we'll jump into the browsing capability. Select the model to browse. And again, the window expands on the left-hand side, and you just simply right-click on here and click on Open, and the new folder opens up, and you have the information available here. Again, this is the browsing capability where you can expand this and look at all the columns and all the different objects you can expand here to look at. Again, you have the toolbar over here on the right to do some actions, to export it, and to get the link, etc. And you can actually change this view. Right now it's called the ERwin Data Modeler Simplified View. You can actually change this view to whatever view you want. And you can change that view, and then you can click on the diagram visualizer, the lineage analyzer, and kind of see different things about that particular model. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is reporting. We can select a report here, and again, we just click on the reports right here are available across the entire configuration. You can actually open up the application and look at reports for individual models as well. But for this example, we'll go to the data model, and we'll look at the logical physical result. And what you get is a spreadsheet-like view of the entire model. It's tied up here in a separate tab of the report capability. And you see all the information available here. You can scroll down and see all the information. Each one of these columns, as you hover over them, there's a drop-down menu where you can sort it in any sequence you want. And to sort it in a group-by type fashion or a hierarchical fashion, you sort the lowest level first, and then the next higher level, and then the third highest level, and it will build it in that kind of sort for you. But the columns right here are the columns that you want to include in the report. And let's include the attribute name, and we just added the attribute name as a column to be included in this report. So now that we have the attribute name over here, we can actually drag that and put it right next to the entity name, just like you can in this spreadsheet. And you can sort by attribute name first. If I just click on the attribute name, it'll alter between sorting, ascending or descending. And right now we're looking at it in ascending sequence, I believe. Yeah. And then we'll sort by entity name. And then we have a nice little spreadsheet list of the entities followed by the attributes. Once you have this spreadsheet and you're happy with how it looks, you can actually download this to a CSV file, and you can save it to a spreadsheet and work with it in there or share it that way. So that's a simple report, and there are a number of other reports that are available here. You can create another report and run another report and be able to look at the data model from a physical perspective. And keep in mind that that result set from the first report is still available here, and we can look at either one. And we can see the information from the physical perspective. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that you can actually drag this particular screen and place it, you can shrink it, or you can place it down here, and you can have a split screen here now and look at both reports simultaneously. So that's a drag and drop capability of the folders within the web portal to put them in different places. So we can close all these up now. Very easy to navigate around in this particular tool. Okay, a little bit more about lineage. Before we showed you the lineage on a conceptual model to a logical model to a physical model. Let's look at the publication mart, and we'll look at the lineage that way. Let's close this, and we'll select lineage for this particular model, and this time we'll pick the publication mart and open it. This is a data mart that has mapping in ERwin from the source to the target. And you can see the different sources that are available here and the target information that is being migrated over to the different target environment. And you can expand these windows individually, or you can just right-click here and say expand all nodes completely. And now we have a nice little view that you can see where the order count is derived from two different tables. It's derived from the store ID and the order number. From these two sources are being mapped over to the order count field. And some kind of calculation is performed in order to derive the order count from these two targets. And again, you can look at the property information, and as you click on these different objects, you can see how the information is migrated. And if you click here, you can see all the store information and all the order number information. So it's very easy to be able to see that kind of information. And if you hover over the line, it will tell you from order number to, okay, it's telling you what the data flow feature is. One other kind of lineage we can talk about. Let's collapse all this and look at another lineage, and this time we'll look at the publication application and look on the lineage on that one. Now this kind of lineage is a little bit different. It's showing you how the tables in the database are constructing a database view. Okay, again, we'll expand all this, and you can see that these are the three tables that are used to derive these columns in the title view of this database. So it's very handy from a physical standpoint for developers and that sort of thing to be able to see this lineage, to see how the views are constructed in order to establish, make sure that they're selecting the right view and understand what they're doing when they're writing the application code. So, in summary, there are three different kinds of lineage that you can look at. We talked about the DLA, the design layer architecture, where you had the migration of conceptual to logical to physical. We also looked at the data mapping between a dimensional model, between the sources and the targets, and we also have this kind of view for being able to look at how views are constructed in a database. That's a very light recap of the presentation here to be able to show you how information is being made available to you through the web portal.